in our hey, here we are. It is Thursday, June 20th, 2024. I'm Dr. Paula Ruffin. This is Chiropractic is Sexy, and along with
I'm Dr. Erica Peabody, and I'm just thinking a lot can happen in a week's time. Glad we're here weekly. I feel like in order to really stay up, we should be twice a week, but you know what? Life doesn't afford for that.
There's only so much we can do.
Yeah.
Well, it's also like, when you don't get together with a friend, or like, even if you and I don't talk for a few days, which is never, but can you imagine if we did not communicate daily like we do? What would transpire? I mean, we would be like, it would be a ridiculous amount of time we would need to catch up.
Yes, for sure. Good afternoon, Devil Dog. It's funny when I stream, I also then I blocks my comments completely, which is interesting. So glad you're here.
Well, that's what I was telling you is you go on to YouTube.
Oh, we have to just take a minute.
You post from there. Yeah. But it depends on which link he's coming in on, if he's coming in off of your page or my page. So that makes a difference too. Gotcha. So yeah. Either way, we'll manage it right here. So hi, Devil Dog. Thanks for being here. Let me get this up here.
You make me want to diffuse my hair sometime.
You have good curly hair. Yeah.
I do. It gets to be so much but yeah, I need to just.
And the big bun.
Well, I know it's actually pulled back and tamed today.
Well, and Hannah discovered this stuff. It's called Curl Maker. Okay. And it's in a little pump bottle.
Yeah.
And it looks like a gel, but it's soft. So these are like really soft, defined curls.
Yeah.
Like it's not crispy. Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yeah. YouTube user. I made
it. You get hair advice on here either, right?
You did make it. Yeah.
Hey, Joe. How are you?
So I was just texting with Dr. Paula behind the scenes while we were seeing patients earlier, and I have to share this story with you guys. So do you have anything to start with unless I just get rocking and rolling?
I think you have built up, I don't know who YouTube user is. So welcome though. We're glad you made it.
Yes.
You have left me in suspense. How can I possibly start any story? Because
it's so good.
She texted me. She said, I have the best story to share. So we're just going to lead with that. I mean,
So for those of you who already know us, we come directly off the adjusting floor. In fact, my adjusting room is right through that door. 2 adjusting rooms there.
Mine's over there.
And so we just hop on here every Thursday right in the middle of the day. And we do like to share the stories. Okay, so I had this woman in today. She's been under care for 3 weeks. She came in crippled. So she started to have this low back pain November timeframe. She started caring for her mom in April. And then it started to get worse because she was lifting, moving, twisting, doing all the things to help her mom get up and down and out of bed and stuff. She's a superintendent at one of the schools. And so anyway, she came in this morning after care, and I actually did a Facebook Live. So catch me on YouTube. We'll hear the story again. But so healing, as we know, is it's headed in an upward trend, but you can have good days and not so good days, and good days and not so good days. So we're in her 3rd week of care. I'm only open 3 days a week. She drives 30 minutes to get here, and I've seen her this past Monday. I didn't get a chance to see her. She couldn't get out of meetings, but I've seen her every day that I've been open for the last 3 weeks. And she's driving to Florida next Thursday. When she first came to me, crippling pain. Like, she was in tears in my office after her 2nd visit because her body was catching her attention, right? So we have gone through the last couple of weeks and done a ton of care. She's like, I feel better today. I feel worse today. I feel better today. I feel worse today. But the one good thing is that it's not constant. We're looking for dynamic progress. Whatever it is, if it's changing, it's good. Even if it's changing and shifting locations, staying the same intensity of pain, this is what we expect in the first part of care. Yesterday, she left here after getting adjusted, and she had to go to a funeral. And sitting for her, she drives here half hour, which is pretty brutal to even drive, but she does it because we're going places. I'm the first chiropractor she's ever seen, and she's in her probably early 50s. So she went to a funeral afterwards, and she sat for a little bit of time. And so when she stood up, And she had a rough day yesterday, and this morning she feels so much better. When she stood up, like someone caught the fact that she was in pain. And so she started to chat with this particular person at the funeral home. And she said, oh, I have like the sciatic nerve pain on my right side. And, you know, people are kind of commiserating together, which we understand humans do that. This woman says, you're not drinking ice water, are you? Ice water and sciatic nerve pain?
Oh my God, come on.
Tell me you're not drinking ice water. She's like, that's not true, is it, Doc? I'm like, 100% no. In fact, 150 or 175% no, and there's not more than 100% no to give. Oh my God.
There's ice in here. I better go dump it out. I need to go dump out my ice. Oh my God.
You know, in all due respect to her, like it truly was a question. I'm like 100% that is not true. And I want.
Did you laugh though? Did you bust out though? Or
I did laugh. I have to. I'm like, you what? She's like, I was laughing too, but I do need to know, like, is that a thing? I'm like, it's not a thing.
And where did this woman get this information from?
Okay, so where did that woman get it?
Yeah.
Where is everybody listening getting your information from? And my Facebook Live was like, can we just do logic? Can we just do logic? And I want you to look back at the last 4 years of our world, the last 20 years of our world, and all of it, looking back, are we doing logic?
No.
Please do logic. And if you don't know what's logical, don't necessarily look it up on WebMD or whatever. Like, ask us. And so, yeah, especially it's a 95 degrees here. The heat index, like it's dangerous heat index for the elderly and animals and things like that, right? So over this past week, yes, drink ice water.
Right. Okay, that's really funny. That's good.
It's epic. I've never heard anything like it. But we also, as chiropractors, like, we don't really know what these people are being fed, which is exactly the reason we are here every week, speaking to you, talking to you over video, speaking to your ears. Hopefully you're listening to us while you're driving or whatever you're doing. Like, we have just logic. So dehydrated muscles are dehydrated body in general is one of the most dangerous conditions that we can put our health and our body through.
And the most common.
Yeah. People walk around severely dehydrated. If you're feeling thirst in your day, you're already dehydrated. Like, that's the body actually super warning signal. So what I tell people is when you pick up water, do 10 chugs instead of just 2 sips. Just do 10 and chug half of this bottle of water when you pick it up. I'm not going to do that right now because we're on video, but that's how I like to do water, and then definitely get electrolytes in too. But dehydration leads to muscle spasms. Muscle spasms then lead down the path of whatever, but also every joint, everything in the body is in a soup. It's in a soup. So that needs to be fresh water. Yeah. Those Eskimos having
I had lunch with someone on Tuesday, and I ordered, they brought, she said, do you want anything to drink? And I said, I'll have ice water, and can you please bring me a straw? And she looked at me, and this person's in the health space, more from personal experience, not necessarily from education, which I don't mean any disrespect by that. I think a lot of people have great stories to share. But there's just a different layer, right? A different level of insight. So she said, why do you drink? She said, do you drink water from a straw so you don't get wrinkles or something like that? And I always kind of thought that you get more wrinkles when you drink from a straw, which I should be wrinkled up to no end because I've been using straws since I was a teenager. So, which was just a couple years ago. But anyway, so she said, do you drink water from a straw so you don't get wrinkles? And I said, well, actually, I think it's supposed to encourage wrinkles. I said, but no, when I drink through a straw, I'm able to drink more water. If I just, take this ice water and try to drink from the jar, all that ice hits my teeth. I'm like trying to and I'm sipping. And I said, but the real secret is I use a smoothie straw. And so this is what I have on the regular. I have these all over. They're stainless steel smoothie straws with the silicone tip, because then, I'm in a restaurant. I still want to drink my water. So I ordered the plastic straw. I know somebody's be like, yeah, but what about the turtles? I'm more concerned about drinking the plastic myself. So, but it is what it is, right? So talk about the soup that we're living in as a toxic soup. I digress. So the smoothie straw and then I use a mason jar, because also the harder it is to get to your water, like if you have to spin a top off and do that, it's just harder. It's
More
harder.
barriers to entry, right? Take all the barriers to entry out.
Yeah. So what is the easiest way to get down gobs of water? This is my fourth one of these today. It's not difficult for me to do. This person that I also had lunch with told me that she bought one of those. She's, I have that water bottle. Have you seen it? And it, I don't remember the name of them, but they vibrate and they light up if you haven't picked it up in a certain amount of time.
Oh.
So it's a reminder for people to drink water, which I think I wish I would have invented that, because you and I both know how many people don't drink water, forget to drink water, just don't even think about it. Mm-hmm. That's not even a thing for me. I mean, the first thing I do when I get up, I drink probably a glass that's, half of this or more of ice water right when I get up out of bed, just get those metabolic processes going. And then I just do this over the course of the day. So how can you get water in you easily is the question.
Yeah. I mean, it's, if we think about it, especially when Dr. Paula was talking about drinking water first thing in the morning, like we just spent, let's just say you sleep in a good 7-8 hours a night. We just spent that breathing, which is a big dehydrator anyway, but also we've spent it not necessarily drinking water. I mean, sometimes we'll have a sip because I always have to have water on my bedside, but
Same.
Yeah, we spend it pretty dehydrated. And then we get up in the morning and, like our joints are feeling that. So I
go for the coffee first.
Yeah.
You're going to get even more dehydrated,
exactly.
right?
I have to share a straw story. Years ago, this patient was coming in and she was seeing this dentist. And I don't know what the conversation came up, but this dentist shares, go ahead and drink Coke. Just drink it through a straw so it skips your teeth. Are we serious right now?
New dentist.
Oh my. So that dentist, I think she's retired now, but she was here for many years. I was like, she said, what?
We should just write a book on all the ridiculous things.
Yeah, just make sure it's in a straw so that it skips your teeth.
Oh my gosh.
What about the rest of your organs? I mean, they take Coke to, break down organic matter at crime scenes and clear blood off streets because it disintegrates stuff.
Yeah. It's slightly acidic. Yeah.
Slightly.
And this is great, Joe. Gatorade made you more tired. There is nothing good in Gatorade. Gatorade is full of toxic chemicals. It is just a toxic bomb that has a really great marketing platform. Yes. And I'll tell you too, not just, Gatorade's the most known name brand, but Gatorade, Powerade, like all of those drinks, Monsters. I mean, anything that people use for energy, like the Monster drinks, they're like, with adaptogenic herbs. And they're using this term that people are like, I'm drinking my Red Bull with adaptogenic herbs. I'm like, you don't even know what a freaking adaptogenic herb is. And if you had any idea, you wouldn't drink the Red Bull because you're destroying all the organs that require the adaptogenic herbs. So
I have said over and over, I'm like, if you see it on TV or advertised anywhere, apply to everything. I don't know that this doesn't apply to something. They have spent their money in advertising and marketing, not in research and development of the product. Because people say, well, can't I just take Centrum Silver? Well, Centrum Silver has has spent their money to become a name brand in your brain, in your home. They have not put any money into their product and research and development. It's also like the things that are advertised to us are cereals, fast food, Just
Who has cereal still in their house?
I know.
Don't raise your hands, you guys, because I'm sure.
Yeah, we don't even want to hear about it. You need to go just have your own discussion with yourself.
That's right.
Don't do that.
That's so funny. Yeah, the money that is put behind the products and those kinds of things that have synthetic ingredients, they have very cheap forms. A lot of people, they'll balk at having to pay, whatever. I don't know how much these probiotics are, but they're reasonable. But everything you get in here is going to absorb. It's highly absorbable. It's been tested. It's been clinically tested. It's been third-party tested. There's clinical trials behind it. I mean, everything. And the problem is that when someone might look at that and go, oh, that's really expensive for a probiotic. I can get a 2-for-1 over at CVS. And the problem is it might even say on it, I'll just use probiotics as an example. These are supposed to be alive. Most of the probiotics on the market will say guaranteed live at time of manufacturing, which means that they don't care what happened to it after that. It could be sitting in a hot warehouse and now everything's dead. So the most expensive product is not the one that you think is pricey. It's the one that doesn't work that you got on a 2-for-1 sale that is doing nothing for your health. And then 10 years goes by and you're like, how do I have osteoporosis? I've been taking Centrum calcium for X number of years. It's like you've been taking chalk. It's doing nothing for you. Yeah. Yes.
Or the breastfeeding community pushing body armor drink on moms. I don't know what body armor is. I'm so out of the loop when it comes to that, but pushing anything but just natural like food. I mean, it's really interesting. So I did have a question from a breastfeeding mom. We have a Histo X product, which is a really helpful allergy product. And it's actually not really good for breastfeeding moms, but sometimes they'll ask me, well, can I take vitamin C when I'm pregnant? That's food. Well, can I take cod liver? I don't know. Is that contraindicated to breastfeeding? No, that's also food and we need it. But then it's like to even be putting something out there. Do you know what body armor is?
I've never heard of it.
I haven't either. Whatever that is, I'm sure it's being advertised that way. It's just like, we got to really watch it. Because Innate is on the job, Innate Intelligence, which is number 23, taking store-bought elderberry vitamin C.
So it's so variable. That's why you need to follow us so we can tell you which ones are good and which ones aren't good. So there's product quality swings in both directions, really good to really bad. And if you're just going out and going, well, Centrum, I know Centrum, and you have know and trust in the same mind thought because you've seen it on TV. So that somehow makes you trust it because you're too afraid to try another brand because you haven't seen that. So you trust the brand you see the most. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the best one. So, but that is a good question.
Yeah, it's a great question. And most of the things that you would see out there, I mean, I do have to say that the game is being stepped up by a couple of the stores, some of the local stores that maybe have around you. The game is stepping up a little teeny tiny bit. So like, just one product I'm thinking about right now is like, sometimes you can find a really good, clean electrolyte packet now in normal stores, like maybe Target or, maybe something like that. Maybe Costco has something that's sort of bordering on something that's actually reasonable quality. But for the most part, like I can tell you here in Fenton, VG's grocery store, and I will call them out every single day of the week. They sell absolute garbage. And, but they're the only place around. Actually, we just had an Aldi open, which is an interesting mix just because we've never had anything like that. But most of the time I'm, just doing like Costco or my closest Whole Foods is 45 minutes from me. My closest Trader Joe's is right next door to the closest Whole Foods, so I don't have options up here. So hydration drink you buy at Kroger, the LC's.
Well, and I tell people you're better off putting a pinch of sea salt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm actually looking up this body armor.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now, And
Yes,
so
sea salt, like what you would put on your food anyway, is the very best electrolyte you can be.
for sure. Yep.
Mhm.
But this is, and then I have a comment too about that, why are we asking about supplements? But so it's filtered water, pure cane sugar is the second ingredient. I thought this was going to have sucralose or Splenda in it, and it doesn't. So, I mean, that's good, but it does have sugar. Don't kid yourself. But the electrolytes are magnesium oxide, which is the cheapest form of magnesium. It does not absorb very well at all, but it's cheap, and it sounds really good to say that we're full of electrolytes. It has also zinc oxide, which is like, that's no bueno. That's also a super cheap form of zinc. And you shouldn't even be taking that into day. So
don't ingest that.
Don't ingest that at all. No. So there's some other things in here that, I mean, vitamin B3, I don't particularly know what form that is. B5, but again, they're not necessarily telling you the form. So they have in here, the vitamin E is alpha tocopherol acetate. And what delineates the natural form to a synthetic form is D alpha or DL alpha is the synthetic form. They're not telling you which one it is. Guess which one I would think it is, since they're not telling you.
Yeah, it's definitely non-active.
So
for
there
sure.
you go.
I would say to wrap that all up, it's not going to kill you off. Like, it's probably, if you're going for something quick and needs something, it's probably a better option than some others.
Yeah.
Would we,
better than a Coke.
would we choose that? No, it's not doing anything for you. I'd rather go get a packet, like go to the health food store, grab something, a packet. I really love Ultima. I don't know what your favorite electrolyte is, but I love
Endura, the Metagenics Endura. But
Yeah.
even the LMNT is really good. And the you don't like that one?
No.
Oh, I do like that one. It's pretty salty though.
Yeah,
It's not my first
the
go-to.
flavor's not that great. And also it's like, you guys are doing quite a bit of marketing. I always question
Yes,
it. Like,
that's
the
true.
stuff that's really good, they're not spending their money on marketing. Element is everywhere right now. And I'm like, if it's everywhere, it's touching us from social media, from our gyms, from, like, it's a better option than Gatorade, Powerade. Yes, 100%. But when I question those spending that much money on marketing,
always correct. Well, and the comment that I wanted to make earlier also is that as we're sitting here having conversations with regards to what do we think about this product being pushed on the lactation community or breastfeeding women, and which electrolyte and which nutrient and all of that, have you managed your food? Have you managed your fluids? Have you managed your sleep? Have you managed your movement? Have you managed your mindset? What, like, everybody wants this whole, like, I want to do this. I was having this conversation the other day about cold plunging. And I'm like, and so my next video, which I'm going to do when we get off the call, is why I think cold plunging is bad, or why I hate cold plunging, because so many people are attempting to cold plunge to offset
a bad lifestyle. You can't
it's like
a bad lifestyle
you
away.
can't do it. No. Oh, Mio's the worst, Joe.
Ugh.
That's got
Gross.
It's got acesulfame K. It's got NutraSweet in it. It's
I
had a patient, devil dog. I had a patient who's got fibromyalgia, and she was having this horrible flare up, and we couldn't figure it out. And I'm like, I know something's going into your body. And I go, what have you changed? And she goes, well, I've been taking this. I mean, it's healthy. I've been putting this electrolyte drink in my water. And I looked it up and I was like, oh, and as soon as she stopped, she called me like the next day and she goes, that was it. I feel so much better today. Like, that fast, you guys. It's horrible.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. So let's go to principle number 23, which is of Stevenson's 33 Principles. Stevenson wrote his book in 1927. They haven't been recalled. This is what our entire chiropractic profession is based on. And so we have just chosen, now we're halfway through, we're beyond halfway through each podcast before we even start
Can't
talking about the
believe it.
principle.
Yeah.
But it's because we're just bringing this as like a prompt, not really necessarily like, of course, we're going to talk about it because we already have been talking about it. So the function of innate intelligence is number 23. The function of innate intelligence is to adapt universal forces and matter for use in the body so that all parts of the body will have coordinated action for mutual benefit. So it's so similar to the amount of innate intelligence from last week, but this is really about the actual function, not the amount of. So the function is to coordinate all parts of the body in action for mutual benefit. So yeah.
I love this because I'm always using the analogy orchestration or the word orchestration. And I tell people, I'm like, your body is like, it's like the New York Philharmonic.
Mhm.
But what's happening right now is this person didn't tune their instrument, neither did that person. That one's got a couple of broken strings. The conductor, I don't know what you call him. Is he a conductor? Is that a train? Is that a train?
Conductor, yeah, orchestra.
Conductor, okay. His stick is broken, right? Like, so think of your body in the sense that if it's functioning properly, the orchestration of the trillions of things that happen are going completely synchronous.
Mhm.
And when something is wrong, whether it's, I'm still struggling with a little bit of cough, I'm not orchestrating at 100%. So what am I doing? I'm drinking, this is filled with all my nutrients, my electrolytes, my greens. I got adjusted yesterday. I've been able to get back to the gym. So, mindset, sleeping, I'm trying to get my sleep back on track. I know things are off and derailed. So I'm stepping in even harder to make sure that I'm refueling the tank where it has been depleted. So I named this show, What's Stopping You? What's stopping you from doing the same? Where do you need to go? Where do you need to start? And what is stopping you to get that orchestration?
Yeah, no, it's great. And the other part is the orchestra, like the conductor truly is the nervous system, making sure that all the pieces go together and are working together. And if we're bombarding and assaulting it with let's just go food just in general, we're doing super inflammatory, whatever. You just go out and you have fast food, like that is a major assault to that whole system that's trying to do so much work anyway. It's almost like, you're brushing your teeth and eating Oreos at the same time. Like if we just stop that kind of madness with our bodies and start to drink. Okay, so I took a trip on Tuesday. I'll talk about it either later on this podcast or a different day, but I can tell you my body was so stressed out that it held on to so much water because it's literally like I was so puffed and I was so swollen. So not TMI, right? But I went to the bathroom when I got into the office yesterday morning. I started at 7:30. By 9:00, I had gone to the bathroom probably 6 times. I felt like I had dumped at least a pound of just fluffiness because of the amount of stress that my body was under. So we're doing that or we're not doing that with every choice that we make every day. And so yesterday I just super cleaned up and I was like, okay, I'm going to get a glutathione injection today. Just make sure that my body's in order. But I also had some rest and relaxation, got some incredible sleep last night for the first time in a while. And it's like, what are we doing so that we can have resilience when we have to overstress the body or your body's fighting an illness like Dr. Paula's been working with, or all of us have been working with something, allergies outside. Like, are you out in the allergens and are you also chugging a 6-pack of Bud Light? You know what I mean? Like, kind of choose it. Like maybe have one, chug a bunch of water, then maybe have another. And then now you're like 3 hours outside rather than, 10 in those 3 hours or whatever. That's just one example. But how can we not assault in some ways when we know something big is coming, or like you're doing, refueling so the innate intelligence can do its job better. I was
Well,
talking to that patient. I was talking about ice water and sciatica.
ice water.
And I just said to her, and I said on my Facebook Live earlier today, like an egg and a sperm came together and made this. Like, if we're not wandering around just in total awe of that, and if that egg and sperm and the innate intelligence that put that together and created this, it needs the utmost respect. Our bodies need the utmost respect, more than we respect somebody else. Even we need to respect ourselves and the vehicle that was given to us, because by the time we're towards the end, all of it adds up. It all adds up, just day to day, but it really adds up in the end.
Well, and you don't want to live 20 years of your life with chronic illness, right? I mean, when we die, we want to just die, right? We should live life with this beautiful vitality and then boom, right? Done. Versus most people in America today are living like at halfway across the board, and it's no way to live.
Yeah.
And when we think about this fueling of our system for the orchestration of everything, the reason that we want to really have these messages every week is to inspire you to do the things that are going to overfill your tank. Because, and again, I'll just use myself as an example. I got something took me down for 2 weeks. Well, can you imagine if I wasn't as healthy as I was? So something chinked my armor, and then something infiltrated it. But I'm so grateful that I lived the life that I lived, because I was able to fight it. Maybe it would have lasted longer. I don't know. It was 2 solid weeks. Erica knows how frustrated I was. But the whole point is, now, because I created such great sufficiency, and that stuff, it gets used up really fast when you're sick. So I can't ignore that. So that's why I'm refueling. I'm taking this opportunity to reset my body. And I think most people are just going through their day-to-day lives, living, like you said, just, eating crappy food and not hydrating and not sleeping well, and putting bad
sitting
things
on
in
their
body.
phones. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? We were given this body, came together. We were given this body to go and have experiences, and to go and do things with it, and to go and love and live and create and dream and move. And I mean, get off of your, thanks for being there right now.
Respect it.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. I called a friend of mine last week, a couple weeks ago, and I was on my way home from work, and I said, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "I'm just heating up a couple of frozen White Castles." I'm like, I go, "I'm sorry. I think we have a bad connection. What did you say?" And he started laughing, and I'm like, "Did you say you're making a salad with some grilled chicken on it?" He's like, "Yes." And I'm like, first of all, and he's a good friend of mine. So I gave him a rash. I was like, I didn't give him a rash. I gave him a rash of shit. Okay. So I sounded really bad.
You guys know what she meant.
I'm like, who goes in? You made the effort to go to a grocery store. You deliberately walked down, and I wouldn't even know where to find frozen White Castles in a grocery store. I know they exist, but I'm like, you deliberately went down the frozen food aisle to choose that. Like, you had to make a conscious choice to walk past all the vegetables, all the fresh produce, the fresh meats, to go down the aisle of the frozen foods and buy frozen
anything.
But what's that?
To buy anything down that frozen aisle.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Yes. Except fruit popsicles sometimes, but yeah. So I was like, frozen what? I'm like, isn't a real White Castle bad enough? Then you have to, because I'm like, there's so much. Because then they took it and they froze it for home consumption. Oh my God.
We really, really have to stop. We just have to stop. Like, no, every single thing that we're putting in our bodies is going to make us stronger or weaker. every single time.
Everything. Which way does it move my needle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you're talking about the woman when we first got on about, progress, and it's 3 steps forward, 1 step back, 3
Mm-hmm.
steps forward, 1 step back. Healing is not linear, but
Mm-hmm.
we do look for it should ultimately do this. And that doesn't mean you're not going to have dips because, again, I was sick. Something chinked my armor. It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we look for progress in ways of frequency, intensity. So maybe you've been struggling with a chronic health issue and you might be saying, I'm still experiencing it every day. It's not getting better. And then I have to ask the question, is it still as intense? And then people will be like, well, actually, no, the intensity is better. Great. Then we're moving in the right direction. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care if you have it every day, as long as the
Mm-hmm.
intensity is better. Or it's still just as intense. Okay, but are you having it every day? Well, no, actually, not anymore. Great. Okay. So we have to be able to look through those lenses of progress in your health. And you need to be able to do that too when you're at home and you're adopting these healthy habits is
Mm-hmm.
don't just say it's not working, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everything has
Well, I
headed
had a
us.
patient last week that she's been coming in for nutrition and her numbers, I don't know if I mentioned this last week or not. Her numbers look amazing. She's losing fat, she's losing water, she's retaining her muscle mass. She's still a little weak in the muscles and the bones because we're doing body composition testing on her. But you hear my voice, I'm struggling. But I'm showing her the progress. And she was also down. I think she's down like 10 pounds over the last, like she's losing about a pound a week. So actually it was 10 pounds in 8 weeks. So she said, she kind of like shakes her head and I go, what's wrong? And she goes, I don't feel any different. And I go, it's okay. Like this report doesn't lie. You are so metabolically unfit that you're not going to feel it on a cellular level until you've
A
created
long
so
time.
much metabolic fitness. Like it's a journey, man, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure.
It takes a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's one of those things. Like sometimes patients will come in and they'll be like, "How do you do what you do with your body? How do you, whatever?" And I know Dr. Paul. I mean, Dr. Paul is like 10 years older than. I mean, look at her skin. Just look at her skin. Like,
I love you.
but it's like it matters, but it's also we didn't just start this journey. My health.
Oh, and this girl did not avoid the sun either.
Yeah, my health journey. I mean, I started working out and I was an athlete my entire life since I was 5, but then started working out and in the fitness industry when I was 18, then all through regular college, chiropractic college, and now 20 years out in practice. And it's like, it's just because I've been diligent, perfect, not even close, but diligent. And then I get off the wagon too. And then we get back on because I still always go back to the innate intelligence, which is coordinating everything in the body. And we better respect the fact of what it's doing, because if you give it enough things that it needs to adjust to and be assaulted by, it's also going to coordinate to benefit and live to the next day, which we talked so deeply about last week, which is like the body's will to live and adjust and adapt to assaults on the daily basis it's big. Its will is big and it's going to keep going. It'll just be super compromised.
And think how much people do compromise themselves. And I mean, that was just such a big statement that you made. And I know you've made that statement in the past about the body's will to live, is that so many people throw so much negativity at their body, whether it's, smoking, drinking, fast food, frozen White Castles, whatever, not exercising, anything like that. I mean, there are people who just throw all of it at the human body, and your body's just like, okay,
Right.
we're here.
Bootstraps. What are we going to do with this? Pull up the bootstraps. What are we going to do with this? And a really simple thing to work with is the innate intelligence, working through the nervous system and letting us help that stay a clear running, information superhighway. She does look amazing. The
Thank
hair,
you,
the skin,
Joe.
all the things. So it's a really big deal. It's a really big deal.
And we just, we're really just trying to, we want to see everybody happy and healthy, because also Dr. Eric and I have a very similar path in our lives and in our careers. And, we probably, if we looked at and we lined up everything we've done since we were kids, it's probably very similar. The fact that we haven't crossed paths until just the past year and a half is really kind of crazy. Um, but I want to inspire more people to make sure. I always talk about leaving that legacy of health. You have to start your kids young. It's so much harder when you get older, and people who have neglected their health and then decide, there are people out there, they're like, can't live like this anymore. I've got to get it together, or they have a health scare. And it's really trying to get you inspired to take action before there is a health scare, before there is a crisis. Teach your kids young. Make sure that you're putting the right foods in your bodies. Like, stop using Roundup around your house, you guys. Like, just stop. Like, my neighbors just started having her house, spray the lawn sprayed, that she's having the granular stuff. I don't even know. I don't even care what it is. But I'm like, why is she doing that? She has a dog. Like, why are you're doing that to your animal? You're putting all this chemical down. She has an incredible amount of metabolic issues. And she's like, no, you can't do that. It's not in alignment with good health. But we're trapped into this. But I have to have a green looking lawn. No, you don't. No. And watering your lawn I'm just like equating this to your house, right? It's to your physical house, right? Like, you don't need to water your lawn in 95-degree weather. It's fine. And then the grass is going to die. Guess what it does? It's going dormant. It's fine, because its ability to survive is massive, just like your body. So that's a life cycle of things. So put the greens in it so it can strive to be its best.
Yeah. For sure. So yeah, probably could just wrap up, maybe even just a minute early here. I'm getting messages that they're like, you need to come out here. I'm like, well, I can't come or something. But anyway, yeah. So principle number 23.
Give us the reread there.
Yep. So the function of innate intelligence, the function is to adapt universal forces and matter for use in the body, so that all parts of the body will have coordinated action for mutual benefit. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. It's actually been really fun. I mean, that's principle 23 out of 33, although I'm taking notes because the principles end and my notes continue. So I got,
good. Yes.
I got more stuff.
Yeah.
So principle number 24 is kind of goes along some of the lines and that we're talking about. And then I was just thinking ahead, because the 4th of July is the Thursday and I'm going to be on the road that entire week. So
I won't be here either. Should we do Tuesday?
Well, I think no, because I'm still going to be, I'm on the road anyway. Like, I'm gone from Thursday through Wednesday night.
Oh my gosh, is that like in 2 weeks?
It is. So just know that we'll be here next week. We might be able to do a couple next week, just to, I don't know. Maybe we should get our one of our colleagues on with us. Maybe we could do that and then do another.
Oh, that would be a good one. Yeah. Thanks, Dr. Mark. This is one of my classmates.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Always encouraging. That's so great. So number 24, the limits of adaptation. So we spoke deeply about this. This is when you think about, what are you making your body? What choices are you making that make your body have to adapt, right? Or are you letting it thrive by putting the right things in? Innate intelligence adapts forces and matter for the body as long as it can do so without breaking a universal law, or innate intelligence is limited by limitations of matter.
Oh, that's going to take a minute to think about.
So I just always look at, like, are you assaulting it, or are you making it move and groove, or are you just like, here, have what makes you thrive, or let me toss this in and toss a little bit of this in and 17 more things, and it's only been one day, multiply that out by 10, 15, 20, you got yourself a mess. So limits of matter.
Oh boy. Woo. Yeah. We are thick into it, aren't we?
We are.
Listen, the bottom line is, these are the principles of health, wellness, and chiropractic. have stood the test of time, take them to heart, implement the thought process into your lives, and continue to follow us for more insight on how you can be healthy and well. So
Amen.
Thank you so much, you guys. Always appreciate everybody showing up here for us. Please share this out. Let others know what we're doing over here on this channel. And we'll see you next week, maybe twice next week. We got to figure that out.
I think we should grab Dr. Anna. She can come on Tuesday.
I think we should do that too. Yeah. So maybe we'll have a special guest for you guys.
We'll do 2, and then we'll take the 4th week off.
That sounds, I'm in. I'm in. Okay. Sounds good. All right. See you guys. Have an amazing day. Stay cool out there.